Hey everybody, today we are looking at Letters from Hadley by Cassidy, Bryant, and this is an interesting book because it deals with really heavy topics, but it was still a fun read. Like, I could not put this book down. I ended up staying up until like 2:30 in the morning to read this book, and then went to sleep. I finally was able to go to sleep, and then I woke up again at like 4 o'clock in the morning because insomnia. Yeah. So eventually I was able to go back to sleep, but yeah, this book definitely ruined my sleep schedule for the day. Letters from Hadley is about Parker Everett, a 17-year-old senior, and one day he goes to school and the morning announcements includes his principal announcing that one of his classmates, Hadley Garcia, has suddenly passed away in a car accident, and he's absolutely stunned because Hadley had been his girlfriend a year and a half prior to the announcement, and he's quite upset by it. And he goes to the funeral, and most of the kids from school are there. There's a few, mean girls that are not there. And his best friend, I believe, has to babysit or something. He couldn't get out of an engagement, so he couldn't be there. But he gets back to school, and everybody is going on with their lives, and he has this kind of existential crisis of, how can anybody just go on with their lives and just keep going when Hadley's not here? And they're talking about, going to college and trying out for the summer and spring sports and everything. And he has this realization, this meeting of mortality of, how do you plan for a future that you don't know you're going to have? Hadley planned for a future. She planned to graduate high school. She's never going to do that now. She planned to go to college. She's never going to do that now. How do you plan for a future that isn't really promised to you? And he kind of falls into a depression, and her parents, Hadley's parents, call him over one night and tell him, hey, we found a box of letters from Hadley. They were written to you. We think she would want you to have them. And so he takes the box and he starts kind of reading them. And at first he's reading them by himself and realizing these are kind of more of diary entries that are in the form of a letter. And he finds a lot of letters where either her best friend Kenzie is referenced, and even finds a letter to Kenzie. And he goes to a basketball game, and he steps out for some fresh air and sees that Cassidy is leaning against the building crying, and he's like, I bet I know why you're out here. And he starts basically pinpointing her feelings of, you're still missing Hadley. It's crazy to be doing all these things when she's not here to do it with you, and it seems unreal that everybody else can just go on with their lives and act like she's not gone. And she's like, yeah, that's it exactly. How did you know that? And he's like, same. And so he tells her about the letters from Hadley. And again, I want to point out to you guys, none of this is spoilers. This is stuff you're going to find just reading the back of the book, okay? So he tells her about the letters, and she wants to read them too. And he's perfectly fine with that because he can't do the letters by himself. He has read a few by himself, and it's bothering him to be the only one to be aware of these. So they decide to start meeting at this lake house that belongs to Kenzie's family that they go to in the summer, but they don't go there during the fall and the winter, so the place is completely free for Kenzie to use, and her parents know that she's going there to just kind of get away and have some reflection time, and they're cool with that. So she takes Parker out there, and they get a fire going in the fireplace, and they sit and spend some time reading the letters each Friday night to as a way of processing their grief. And I like how it says at the end, shoved forward by the mantra that Hadley's story deserves to be read, Parker delves into the letters. When he lets Hadley's best friend Kenzie see them, things get even more complicated, threatening his relationship with his current girlfriend and the life he thought he wanted to live. As he starts to see things from Hadley's point of view, he becomes increasingly unsure of whether the letters will be the remedy he needs or lead to his ultimate undoing. He, like I said, this is his ex-girlfriend, so at one point he had broken up with her. And so there's a part of him that is wondering if he may have made things worse for her by breaking up with her, or even being in a relationship with her, or if there was something that he just he couldn't see or do anything about. And there's some heavy topics of depression and suicide brought in. And if you are a parent who's watching this and you have a teenager that you're concerned with that might be going through anxiety or suicidal thoughts, or you're not sure how to broach the subject and it seems to tick them off every time you bring it up, this would be a good book to get them. If you're a teenager who's struggling, this is a good book to get, just because, if for nothing else, you will find characters that you can totally relate to, that you will feel like they get you, but also that, you can really get lost in this book. I found myself, like, I'm a 45-year-old woman, alright? I'm sitting here reading this young adult drama, and I'm just completely sucked in, and I'm transported back to my own high school days of my senior year, and the things that we went through. We had a kid in our school that did end up dying from an accident, and it was a lot of the same things. We had a lot of people that were very close to that person that was worried about that, like that they were very, they missed them. They were grieving really hard. And then there were some people who barely even knew the kid, and they're like, well, yeah, it said that they died, but life goes on. And then there were people like me who kind of fall into the realm of where Gage was, Parker's best friend, of, yes, I knew the person and I liked the person, and I think it's terrible that they're gone, and went through my own grieving process, but not nearly as bad as what their best friends and the people that was close to them went through. And I was still able to say, okay, it's time to move on. Grieve for a few weeks, and then that grief still hangs with you, but you got to move on. And the best friends had a hard time doing that. I would definitely say this is definitely a good book to get for any teenager that's in middle school, even middle school especially. Middle school, high school kids will enjoy this book, because even though it does deal with a lot of heavy and hard topics like suicide and depression and anxiety, it's also lighthearted and fun. There's points where the friends are, Parker even is joking and laughing with his friends and making jokes, like when he and his friend are getting ready for the winter formal, and he tells his friend, wow man, you look hot, you want to be my date instead? And his friend is like, you're not even in my league. So definitely a book I would recommend. Probably I want to pass this book on, but I also kind of want to keep it because I want to reread it. This is definitely going to be a comfort read for me. A great rainy day book also, by the way. But I may have to get some more copies of this so that I can give them to some of the teenagers in my life and the preteens, because I think they would really enjoy it. Because it really does capture that senior year feel. So that's all I've got for you guys today. I will leave the link to the book in the description box below. I'm starting to understand why Wheezy Waiter calls it the doobly doo, because how do you remember the description box? I don't know why that's such a hard thing for me to remember. Anyway, until next time, I will see you guys later. Bye.